says my camera's blurry. What is up, people? Good afternoon. I am a wilderness scout. What's that movie from? I forgot what it was called. Oh, Up.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I don't remember the kid's name. My name is blank. I am a wilderness scout from Troop 101.
What a crazy day today, man. What a freaking crazy day today.
For real, it really was. But you know what? It's because good things are coming our way. Good things are coming our way. And I'm excited. I'm excited. Good evening, Joel. How are you doing, my friend? Great to see you again. Or see your name again. We're just waiting a few moments, letting people kind of filter in, getting on. I'm just like,
man, I think we need to touch up on everything. Have we talked about our walkthrough, Myron?
no.
No.
Oh, I think we kind of did on Friday, but it wasn't. We didn't go too into detail with it. I think it was more so, hey, we've got a great deal. You know, we went and checked it out. It was better than expected. I think that was kind of the gist of what we got going on there.
Got it, man. Yeah, we need to like.
I think it was more so
a brief on that.
Yeah, because it feels like it's been like a whole week, and it's only been a few days.
Yeah, it's only been.
Well, that's right. Marcel jumped on. Marcel jumped on with us that last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel says, today I hit a milestone. Got my first objection after a while. They were saying we are new and need a POF.
Got you. No problem. Joel, why don't you message us?
You know the deal. Viral World says, good evening, everyone. Go ahead, Oscar.
No, yeah. So I wanted to start it off with this because I think everybody here knows that interest rates are rising, right? It's not a secret anymore. They're just going up. Yeah. And so everyone, if you've been keeping up with, a lot of the single family stuff in major cities, you know that days on market for these properties are going up. What does that mean? That means that it is now officially, or has been, a buyer's market. And it's been so crazy because before, like during COVID or even pre-COVID and a little bit past COVID, post-COVID, like it was such a seller's market. It was so crazy that people were really just asking whatever they wanted and people were still overpaying for that property. And it was so funny because I remember calling realtors during this time in my single family journey. And every single realtor knew that they could get away with asking that price and really didn't have to do any research on it. Right. And so they were like, I would call them and be like, hey, what's the price on this property? They'd say whatever it is. Is there any room for negotiation? No. And then they hung up on me. See you later. Right. Like, you're asking the wrong question here, kid. Like, who are you? Right. Are you not seeing the market? But recently I called a realtor in Dallas and they had a home listed for about $600 something thousand. It was more one of those higher end neighborhoods here in Fort Worth. And it had been sitting on the market for more than 100 days. And so I called the realtor and it threw me off because I talked to the realtor and I was like, hey, I know can you tell me about the house and this and that? And they're talking to me. And then they're asking, I'm surprised you didn't ask me why it's been sitting on the market for too long. I already knew why it had been sitting in the market for too long, but I didn't ask that question. And she was like, thank you for not asking that, because all my other buyers realtors are asking that same question. And so the reason why it's sitting on the market right now is because it doesn't make sense to go get a loan on it. If the interest rate's so high, you can't afford the payment. Why would you go get it? And on top of that, the house wasn't really fixed to its potential. So it's not very attractive. But the thing that took me and got me off guard, guys, was I asked her, what's the minimum that your seller will take? And she goes, well, it's listed at blah, blah, blah. But I think they'd be willing to take $9,000 off of the purchase price. And I was like, it's still not going to work. And I told them, look, that's still not enough. And this is what threw me off. They told me, well, what can you do? That little question threw me off because I'd never been asked that question by a realtor ever during the whole seller's market. It was, this is the price. If you can't do it, see you later. And now the realtor was asking me, what can you do? And on top of that, they asked me, is there anything else that we can think of that we can do on this property?
Whoa.
Dude, that's when you know the market has definitely shifted. What does that mean for us? Like, all of us here are sub 2 as well for the creative finance aspect. That to us, those words right there are sexy, right? That means, what can we do to get creative? What can we do to buy this house? And hearing that from a realtor, guys, a realtor out of all people, what can we do to get this thing going? That was amazing. So I wanted to start off with that because we're going to talk about a little bit of some of the feedback that Joseph, myself, we've been talking to a few lenders, and they've been telling us what to expect here in the near future when it comes to our underwriting. This is important for you guys who are doing multifamily, because if you're underwriting the conventional method and going out to talk to lenders, you're going to need to know what's going on in the market. And then I'll let Myron touch up a little bit about how this market, even though the interest rates are super high, what it means for you as a buyer and to really understand creative finance and what opportunities you have in the future. Right now, opportunities you have right now. So, Joseph, I know that you and I had gotten off a phone call with our lender about a week ago, or a couple of days ago, actually. I think it was Friday. Saturday. And can you talk a little bit about what he told us to expect here in the next few days, weeks, whatever, and what he told us about underwriting?
Yeah. So we called him to kind of just let him know where we were at and the general gist of, what's been going on with us and why we were having the conversation is he gave us some numbers. We took those numbers, put them into our underwriting, trying to figure out how can we make these numbers work with our numbers and what the seller wants, right? And then we're just sitting here tweaking these numbers, turning this wheel, turning that wheel, trying to get something that makes sense. And we weren't quite able to make something work to where everybody's happy, right? So we were just giving him a call to let him know the situation. What he tells us is that on Wednesday, I believe that's correct, on Wednesday, we're supposed to be hearing the interest rate index, the federal interest rate index. I don't know exactly what it's called, but he said that is actually going to be being adjusted on Wednesday. And with the current trends and everything that's been happening, that is actually about to go up even more, right? And so that directly correlates to what lenders are going to lend on, right? For, I believe it's floating or variable interest rates, it has to be equivalent or higher than that index, meaning that they cannot give an interest rate lower than that amount. And again, I'm a student. I'm restating what I was told, or at least what I remember I was told. So that is alarming for us, very alarming for us, because interest rates are already high, right? For regular fixed rates, we were getting on the low end 5.5. That's the low end. Now it's higher, closer to 6.5, 7. Bridge loans, minimum of 7% interest. They're closer to 8. I got 2 quotes back and they were in the 8s. And it's funny because I sent a picture to the team and Oscar immediately replies, RIP. Like, that kills the deal immediately. It's over. There's no hope for that one. Not at that price, not at those numbers. So that is what we're seeing. That's the trend. That's what's happening, is that the interest rates are just going up, which in turn is directly affecting the prices that the sellers can sell at comfortably, because we as buyers have to get loans, and we're taking on this interest rate. If this interest rate, let's say it's 8%, whatever it is, that interest rate at 8% is requiring a huge debt service, huge monthly payment. The property has to support that debt service. And if it does not, we can't buy it. So how do we do that, right? We have to then reduce the price of the property that we're buying it for, reduce that buy price. So then we're getting a smaller loan amount, which is reducing our payments. That's what's happening. That's what everybody is seeing in the market. So that's where we come in with our creative finance background. And like Oscar said, what else can we do here?
Yeah.
Right.
And then to touch up on that, Joseph, remember he was telling us, if you're going to be underwriting a deal, I would underwrite it at 8% interest.
Yeah.
To be very conservative, because that's what's going to happen. Right. Mm-hmm. And so we took that into account. But going back to one of the deals that we were looking at when the interest rates were at about 5-6% for bridge debt, we plugged that number in. There's no way. It just broke it. Completely broke the deal. And it's like, okay, conventional debt is not the route here for some of these properties. And the sellers are going to start to notice that very, very soon, if not already, right? They're going to be hurting very soon. And so Myron, you and I, we drove to Tennessee, 14-hour drive and 14-hour back we had lots of time to think and lots of time to brainstorm on the car ride home. Right. And so Myron and I were listening to a podcast or a Clubhouse where it was a bunch of realtors, like a 10X Grant Cardone type of thing. But Pace Morby was brought into this Clubhouse, and he was there to address this specific issue, because realtors are having trouble selling properties on market right now. They're sitting on the market for too long, and so they're not able to move them. So they brought in Pace in there because Pace is the king of creative finance, right? He acquires a lot of his properties a lot of the time with $0 out of his pocket, not leveraging a bank, doing it creatively, subject to and a hybrid of sorts of subject to and seller finance. That's his primary strategies, most of his primary strategies. And so when Myron and I were listening to this, Myron, how powerful was it to listen and just, absorb everything and then think about it from this, right? Multifamily can be the exact same thing if we implement those exact same strategies. So can you tell everybody just a little bit about what we were talking about and then how exciting it is for us going into this market?
Yeah. What Pace was just explaining, if y'all don't know, he was explaining seller finance, which means we're going to buy a house, our property on terms. We're going to give a down payment, maybe 10%, and we're going to pay the seller over 30 years a payment. With or without interest. We can get a 0% deal, 0% interest deal, but y'all back me up if I go too far high up. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So what I'm going to start there. Seller finance. Why I think that's so powerful. Just what Oscar's deal was, where he called the realtor and that person said, what would make this work? Right. Because all these houses, they're sitting there. I actually went and looked at one today. I'm going to tell this story. It's not even on the market, and this thing is not going to go on the market. It's the foundation is destroyed. There's no flooring. All the flooring is gone. It's just concrete, and it's all the cracks, and you can see all this foundation, all these foundation problems. I'm like, okay, what realtor is going to put this up on Zillow right now? Back in April, no problem. Would have sold in a couple of days, right? But right now it's going to be hard. And so what will make this work? And for this one in particular, an investor owns it. So the reason I know that is because I asked them to look, how many properties does this person own, right? Stuff like that. But what was powerful is, Oscar, is a lot of realtors don't understand this. They just don't, they haven't seen it. They haven't dealt with it. They don't know how to wrap their head around it. Why? Because how do I get my commission on this? Right. And so when you do something like in a traditional way, it's very clean cut. I'm getting my 3%. I know exactly how I'm getting my 3%. When you start going outside of that box, okay, now what? Now this is changing. This must also be changing. How am I getting paid? There are instances, right, where if it's just a dead deal, like it's, hey, I'm going to get rid of this thing. Maybe we can take it over seller finance. Maybe we can take it over subject to the existing mortgage. And that might be a referral fee. But our main goal is to give realtors that 3%. That's what we want to do. We want to, that person brought us the deal. We want them to get paid, just like if another wholesaler or another broker brought us a deal, we'd want them to get paid. What I thought was, one more thing, what I thought was so cool was he was telling all this to a clubhouse full of realtors. It wasn't investors, wasn't mainly investors. It wasn't mainly wholesalers, you know, like his Sunday service and that stuff. But the realtors, so there was a guy on there, I don't remember who it was, but there was a guy on there who's like, well, you better watch out for seller finance. They're trying to mess it over. They're trying to abolish it and stuff like that. And no, they're not. Pace just says, no, they're not. Like, what are you talking about? And it's not about this guy was, you know, just not smart. It's just education. And not every deal, Joel, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to call out Joel on this one. Not every deal out there is going to be seller finance. You have to find the right seller, right? There are people out there that want to sell their property and move those funds into another deal. They want to go build something. They want to build something bigger. Bro, we're going to do that. We're going to get to that point where we sell and we go into something bigger and better. That's what we want. And we don't want to do seller finance. We're not going to take a seller finance deal. So what I thought was so cool is the opportunity that we're in right now, literally like right this minute. We have the chance to do these things if we explain it correctly, because lending on every side of it is going bananas. It's going bonkers right now. And if we explain that in a proper way where, hey, this is going to continue to sit here because the NOI is what it is. The person who's taking over, who's going to go get lending, they won't be able to pay it. This is how we're going to have to do it. Like, this is the answer. This is the key to this lock. And explain it to them and present it. Bro, every offer I make from now on is going to have two offers. It's going to have an embarrassing ass cash offer. And it's going to have an attractive, sexy, in Joseph's words, sexy seller finance offer. Like, whoa, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to get what I want. So, I don't know, Oscar, I'm going to make socks that say seller finance or something. And I'm pumped.
Guys, give us like a fire in the chat if you want Myron to make some socks that say seller finance. One sock will say seller and the other one will say finance, right? Huge font.
Love it.
But okay, so I'm going to add to that because we're underwriting, Joseph, and you can add into this. We're underwriting our deals. We were underwriting them the conventional method with a lender, right? And now we're starting to underwrite our deals based on what we heard at 7 to 8%, which kills most of these deals, right? And so what we did is we went back to some of these deals that we had in the pipeline, and I made calls today, follow-ups. And I asked these brokers, right? Like, hey, you know, we're seeing interest rates rise. I don't think it's a fit for us. The only way we can do this is if we do it creatively or seller finance, either combination. And they understood the market. They know that it's coming. And so they were like, yes, I understand, but my seller wants a clean cut deal. They don't want seller finance. Perfect. Keep me in your back pocket in case it comes to that time. I'm your buyer. I will even pay closer to what they're asking so long as we get fair terms. And so underwriting those deals, because here's the thing is you're talking, if you're going to multifamily, typically you're talking to the broker unless you're direct to seller. And what you have to realize is when you talk to the broker, you can articulate it and educate them very, very well. And most of them already know what seller finance is, right? And so it's their job to go back and pitch it to their seller, right? And that's even if they pitch it to their seller. They may just be like, yeah, I tried, man, but see you later, right? And so truly, truly understanding seller finance, it's powerful because the way we locked in the both deals that we have right now was because we had the broker connect us with the seller. And we got on the Zoom call with all of them. Multifamily sellers understand seller finance. And that's powerful because it's not like a single family seller where you have to educate them and walk them through everything and blah, blah, blah. Like they understand it. So the person that we talked to, these two sellers, they understood seller finance. And on top of that, guys, interest rates are 8% right now, or going up towards the 7 to 8%, right? Imagine getting a multifamily deal at 2 or 3 or 4% interest rate. How attractive does that sound? Because that's the two deals that we have right now. They're both at 3% interest rate, seller finance. Once you understand that concept, it is a game changer, especially right now in this market where interest rates are going up super, super high. What's the answer? Seller finance.
Bro, and one of those are on a 50-year note, which is not even possible.
Man. So yeah, so guys, the opportunity's there now more than ever. Try to understand if you're not in the creative finance space, you need to be in the creative finance space because that's your opportunity right now. How can you help some of these sellers? Creative finance is the answer. And again, if you're in multifamily, they understand it already. It's just finding the terms that are a win-win for both of you guys. Right? Did I miss anything there, Joseph? I know that we were underwriting a couple of deals and you know, you're the underwriter, so you understand a lot of this more than I do too.
Nope, that's pretty much exactly it, man. It's seller finance is just another tool in your tool belt, and understanding it and really truly understanding it will put you ahead of the game. It'll put you up on a pedestal of buyers that can solve their problem. And if you're the one that can solve their problem, right? Going back to sub 2, right? If you're the one that can solve their problem, even if you're coming in at a lower price, but you're able to solve their problem, they're gonna go with you.
Yeah. And guys, I'll add this to that. One of the deals that we're working on right now, it had been sitting on the market for 8 months. Why did anybody else buy this product? Why didn't anybody else buy it? Because they could not solve the seller's problem. And so when we went into this deal and thanks to our partner Marcel, who understands creative finance as well, he told the broker, this is a seller finance play. This is not a cash deal. Let's get on the phone with the seller and let's discuss. And because we did that, we were the only ones that were able to solve the seller's problem. Imagine if you guys who are watching right now understand creative finance, understand where the market's going, understand seller finance and everything, right? And you're the only one who can solve a seller's problem. That is powerful because you'll be able to find those unicorn deals that nobody else could solve, but you could. So guys, this is an exciting time right now. We're super excited. We don't care that the interest rates are high. We're actually very excited that they're high, right? It's a buyer's market. Like you have so much power right now. You just don't understand how much power as a buyer that you have. Marcel's in the chat. Thanks, bro.
What's up, Marcel?
And so I know I was going to ask you a question, Joseph. Whenever we were underwriting one of the deals that we had, this particular one that we're doing in Tennessee, the underwriting on a seller finance is so much more flexible. We're able to do very, very conservative numbers and we're able to do aggressive models, right? And so we were just doing that underwriting Zoom not too long ago. And I want you to touch up on this because how attractive is it to have a deal that's conservative and it still works, and then having an aggressive model that's just the cherry on top, bro. Tell everybody how sexy our underwriting session went without, you know, getting too much into the details, but just tell everybody how that deal has legs.
Yeah. Oh, it's got some sexy legs, that's for sure. So the without getting into too much detail, right? The valuation in year 5 years from now, our plan is to refinance out of it because that's what the seller wants. They want a balloon. So our plan is to refinance out of it. And so, like Oscar said, we have a conservative, we have an aggressive model. The conservative model is only raising the rents and having higher expenses. So with that, our valuation, the property valuation in 5 years with the higher cap rate would be, I think it was 3.5 million. That's how much the property would be worth in 5 years with all of that conservatively taken into effect, right? We're not including any additional income other than raising the rents, and not even raising the rents to its fullest potential. We're raising it to maybe like 70, 80% its full potential. And the expenses are higher than what we think it should be. Then we have an aggressive model where if you took everything into account, it was looking like it was, hang on, I'll remember, it was 5.1 million. So the first one was at a 6%, and the second was at a 5%. 5.1 million. That is $1.5 million difference of just price valuation. And that's not including, there is space to build 6 more additional units on the property. And that alone, just those 6 units, would raise the property value another 2 million. So we're potentially looking at 7.1 million in property valuation. And it's the difference between 3.6 and 7.1 if we did everything. That's what, 3.5 million difference? That's freaking crazy. And it still looks good with the conservative numbers. Even if we did absolutely nothing and went with the conservative numbers, because we were able to structure this creatively and get really good terms with the seller, that's what we were able to do. It's everything still checks out. All the numbers still look good. We can proceed and move forward with it.
Yeah. And guys,
Wow.
like you see our faces like light up and smile real big because this deal is amazing. And then shout out to Marcel again, who's in the chat too, because he's our partner on this deal. But man, like, dude, every single time we pitch this deal, we present it or we talk about it, it's just it's so incredible, man. Because we love seller finance. We really do. We understand it, we live, breathe it, and we eat it, whatever, man. We just love it. Myron, bro, you and I have been doing a lot of things, presenting, talking to people, lots of investors. Dude, it's like I said, it's felt like it's been more than a week, but it's only been a few days, man. And we've been meeting so many people. Dude, every single person we pitch the deal to, they also get excited for us because it's so good, right?
Mhm.
Can you talk about how like our journey has been from where we started to where we are now in the position that we're in, like having good problems right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So before I do that, I'm gonna post a link on our YouTubes. It's our Slack channel, real quick. I'll answer your question. I'm not trying to avoid it. Jump on our Slack channel, get synced in or whatever it is, get locked in with us. We're gonna do a lot more updates on there. But Oscar, from where we began, we had no idea what we were doing. We had no idea how to underwrite what NOI was. We had no idea. What we had though was drive, right? We had the heart in it. Like, we're going to figure this out. And like, we started reading books, watching YouTube, going to like little webinar things, and it's really what has been the best is like meeting more people and talking to them, seeing how they're doing stuff. But what I think was cool is we started talking about what we were doing. And I don't remember how long it took for us to start up our YouTube channel, but we just started like making posts and talking about it and trying to get involved with people. And the word got out. The word got out about what we were doing, and people started bringing us deals. And that led to our first deal. Another sub 2 student brought us a deal. We restructured it, put it on its head and restructured it and made it something that got closed. We got closed about 2 weeks ago. Same thing. We're talking. Y'all joined a mentorship. Somebody in, Marcel brought us a deal. I don't know if that was because he's in sub 2 as well, but I think it's more because y'all were in the Carlos mentorship. But anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, look at this. It's like he found like a little pearl or a little jewel or something, like, look at this thing, and started to dig into it. And so right now, I don't want to get too deep into this, but we're talking to people to bring them on as partners and learning about them and learning different things that are going on in people's lives, and talking to some people that I don't want to say the wrong thing, but there's so many crazy stories out there of people who want to get involved in this. They just kind of don't know how, right? They don't know how to take that first step. They're scared. They have reservations. And it's what I'm really learning. Let's go there. What I'm really learning in all these conversations is it's about security and mindset, where these people want to feel secure in their investment. And side note, I think that's why so many people play small in like IRAs and all those other little things, stocks, whatever, like the low index, whatever they are. I don't really know what they are. They play small and they don't even beat inflation, but they think that 5% return is amazing. But they play small because it's safe. They don't want to lose. And with what we're doing is giving those returns backed by a real property, a real estate. And what I've learned is like the mindset of the deal, if it feels a certain way, if the numbers check out, obviously the numbers check out. Joseph's gone over them for hours, but it also has to feel a certain way. And I think maybe you can touch on more about what you're aiming at, Oscar, but that's kind of what I'm getting. I've learned so much just being on those meetings. Oscar is getting like super pro at the pitch. I guess it's a pitch, but the presentation that he puts on is phenomenal. It flows amazingly, and like, dude, it's baller. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that because these guys were on one of the pitch with me. Actually, they've been on most of them with me. And every single time we learn something new. Every single time, guys. So for those of you who are watching, and I know Joel mentioned this earlier, he's seen our journey and he said, thank you for taking us along the ride. And so you would know that if you started watching us from the very beginning, we had no idea what we were doing. It goes back to whenever Myron and myself were working a deal, the very first multifamily deal that came across our desk, Myron and I. It was in New York. I think it was in the Bronx or something like that.
Yeah, the Bronx.
And we had no idea what we were looking at. Someone had presented us with a rent roll and like a profit and loss statement. It was very mom and pop. And back then, Myron and I didn't even have a type of analyzer like we do today. It was just a one pager where you put in like, it says whatever yellow, that's where you put in your numbers and then it'll spit out everything else. And we had cap rate completely backwards, where we thought like the higher the cap rate, must be a great deal or whatever, right? And like the lower is like, it's not a deal. Whatever it was, we had a weird concept of cap rate. We didn't understand it. And so going back, fast forward to what we're doing now, I mean, you look at Joseph and Ione underwriting these deals, hours and hours of underwriting these deals. They basically know the numbers like the back of their hand because that's how much time they spent into it. But they stress test the property and the numbers every single time. And the beautiful part about it is that no matter how much they stress test it, in particular this deal, there is a breaking point, but it's extreme, right? They go to the measures to let us know, look, conservatively, this is what we feel comfortable being at because we know the numbers. We're freaking staying awake till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning doing the numbers. But if the best case happens, here's what best case looks like as well. And they know those numbers because they spent so much time. So we went from literally not knowing nothing when Joseph and KJ reached out to me. They didn't even know what a T12 meant. They didn't know what a rent roll was. They didn't know what the heck they were looking at. To now they're leading, Ione and Joseph are leading the underwriting. And they could probably tell me everything much better than I can. I still don't really understand some of the stuff that they do and how they get the numbers that they do, but that's okay. That's where they excel at. That's what they're good at. And then Myron and I were on those meetings because we need to understand those numbers as well, because we're going to be the ones pitching it to our investors. So we go hand in hand. Carolyn and KJ, amazing. If it wasn't for them in the front lines and creating relationships, we would not be where we are either. Remember, Joseph, when KJ started doing broker calls, right? She did not feel comfortable doing broker calls. She had to listen to me for 1 whole day before she felt comfortable taking action the next day. The thing is, she took action, but she wasn't like super great going out the door. She stumbled along the ride. But once she started getting and doing it, and all the calls that she made with Carolyn as well, same thing with Carolyn, they are now rock stars at calling brokers. And between them two, in a course of 3 to 4 months, I think it's 3.5 months, they called 500 brokers. Sorry. Yeah, 500, right? 500.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was actually less than that. I think it was in a time frame of 2 months. It was like a month and a half. So we'll say 2 months.
Guys,
that is crazy.
That's crazy. And I remember our mentor once said that how many phone calls you've made is the direct result of how many properties you're going to get in a year. And I remember he asked someone, I don't remember their name, but our mentor asked someone, how many broker phone calls have you made? And I think they said somewhere like 10 to 20 for the entire year. For the entire year. KJ and Carolyn, between them two, 500 brokers in less than 3 months. Guys, that's incredible. And they're still calling brokers till today. So that number is just adding up. But it got to the point where we have a great problem where they've called so many brokers that they had to stop because those brokers are now giving them so many freaking deals. So many deals. Overwhelmed big time, where KJ was like, dude, I got to take a time out. And Carolyn too, I was like, I know I've got so many follow-ups to do. And they're sending us deals and deals and deals, and even more now because it's a buyer's market at the moment. They're flooded, they're swamped, and Joseph and Ione are the ones underwriting these deals too. But the perfect thing, the good thing about it is Joseph and Ione and the entire team sat down and said, what do we really want to look at? That's important, because at the beginning, Joseph, how many deals were you underwriting whenever these deals started to come in and didn't make sense?
All of them. There's so many. Every single one of those broker calls, right? Let's say 20% of them actually sent us something, right? And let's say 10% of those sent us more than one, right? But just on those 20%, that's 100 deals right there, right? In our Podio, we have more than 100. So every single one of those has gone through some stage of underwriting, whether that was napkin underwriting, whether that was deep underwriting. If it's in the Podio, that means it passed napkin underwriting and it went through, mid to deep underwriting. It got started. If it looked good, we kept going. If it didn't look good, we stopped going. Right. But there was so many deals that we got that we did the napkin underwriting. It didn't make sense. So we didn't even put it into Podio. And there's 100 in Podio right now. That's just that, right? There's over 100. That's my answer. I have no idea, but a lot.
Yeah, 100%. And then Myron, I know we were refining, and Joseph, this goes along with you too. We were refining our process on how to keep track with all of these leads, deals, brokers. Myron, how important was it for us to sit down and create some sort of system in order for us to keep track of the stuff?
So I'm a systems guy. So systems are super important. We have a podio, like Joseph mentioned, and we're in like the beginner stage of developing a more full-fledged communication system, where people will be able to submit with us, we'll be able to communicate with them pretty easily, make broker calls, make seller calls. I think the idea, so like we have a podio, our email. What else do we have? Like our own emails.
In the new CRM or
No. Like other than this new CRM, like Facebook messages, Instagram messages.
Oh yeah, like where are we getting
like
the deals from?
everywhere, and we got to go like. And bringing on a new system, our aim is to condense all that and put it all in one place so that we can, it's like letting things fall through the crack, whether it's underwriting or even putting in an LOI or whatever it is. We want to have a structure on each step. So, hey, we need to talk to insurance. We need to talk to lawyers. We need whatever it is. We have our checklist. It's in the CRM. That's the goal.
Yeah. And the reason I bring that up is because, guys, calling between Carolyn and KJ, 500 brokers, one can like, their phone was literally blowing up every day. And it was hard for us to keep track of all those leads because things fall under the cracks, like what Myron just said. And so the necessity for us to have a CRM or a systems in place is just it's a no-brainer. You cannot scale without having that stuff in there. There's a certain point where the notepad, you've got to upgrade from the notepad, or you've got to upgrade from just keeping it track on your phone and put it somewhere where it automates everything, right? And that way it frees up your time to go do the income producing things that you should be doing in your business. And so it's so important to have those things in place. So that's why Myron, Joseph, and I think from feedback from KJ as well, we're creating the system that we are creating now, the CRM that we're putting together at the moment to mitigate and to take care of all that stuff, get the stuff off of our plate, automate it, focus on the deals that we need to, and then have that follow-up process as well for some of the people that we talk to. It's going to be so powerful, guys. We're so excited to finally bring it on board. It's going to be very soon, and we'll talk more about it in a Zoom and kind of present what we've got going, because I know that's one of the most common requested things that we get is, hey, how do you guys run your systems? How do you guys do this? We will present that to you guys. It's so exciting that we're going to be doing something like that. And I know Joseph, he's super excited about it too, because the Podio, we might have something, we might be stepping away from Podio. I'm not sure,
Oh, I think we are, man. I'm ecstatic about this new CRM that we're putting together. So just a little taste or a little teaser, right? It'll be our CRM, but it won't be just our CRM for multifamily. It'll be our CRM for everything. It all in one space. With a click of a button, I can switch to a different CRM. So it'll be CRM for potential investors to bring on, be our CRM for the deals we're getting. It'll be our CRMs for different brokers that we're reaching out to. It'll be CRMs for some of the single family stuff that we're doing. We want to keep it in the same place. We'll be able to mass email, text, phone call people. It will also have a business card for us, each and every one of us attached to our phone. We just pull up the QR code, and then every single person that scans it will be imported into a CRM, and their information will be in it, all in the same place. So then we can do automatic follow-ups with them. There's so many, I could keep going on and on and on, right? There's so many things in that CRM that we could take care of. Yeah, I'm super ecstatic about it.
We're all super excited, especially Myron. He's a systems guy, so he's like, dude, what you need, I got you. And he got on it, right? It's amazing. I think we should go back and answer some of the questions in the chat, Joseph. We got quite a few in there.
Yeah, I got one right here from Lucas. what types of lenders can use for 30% down payments? Like, for example, if the seller is willing to hold 70% seller finance and wants 30% down, where can I find lenders for this kind of thing? Well, typically, when you're doing seller finance, they are the lenders, right? You generally want to have the money that you need to come in with. So that could be done multiple ways. For example, in the deal that we're currently on, we're bringing in a financial partner or financial partners, right? Either one person with the whole lump sum or multiple people, and not a lot. I think you can have no more than 10 on a JV. I'm not 100% of that, but that's where we want to keep it. So in this example, we're either bringing on one or six people that have a total of X amount of dollars. So in your example, Lucas, that 30%. So you can go and get private money, but then you're paying two loans, right? So for us, we want to bring in a partner, someone to come in and receive equity in the deal as well. They are just as much in the deal as we are. They have their percentage. They just don't have to do anything. They're not an active partner. They're encouraged, obviously, to be part of the deal, to learn more and just be involved so they know what's going on. They don't necessarily have to, because their role in the partnership is to bring the finances. That's their role. So that's how we typically want to structure a seller finance deal that way. When you start getting another lender involved, if not always, but it usually will kill the deal, because now you're paying two separate payments, right? So that usually means less cash flow, if any cash flow, maybe even negative cash flow. And that's why I say deal.
If they're talking to a lender, if he's talking to a lender, is he going to be able to get that 30% on a loan? Or is the main lender going to require him to have that as funds? Like skin in the game type of thing.
Typically they want to see, you don't necessarily have to put a down payment. You can go the syndication route, but they are absolutely going to want to see some reserves, some liquidity. So in those instances, if you don't have it, then you have to bring on a sponsor or a key principal to sign on the dotted line for you, to sign the loan, right? So there's multiple different ways to go about it. It's really just what makes sense. And that's some of the things that we do in underwriting. How can we make this deal the most attractive, not only for us, but whoever it is that we're going to bring on, whether it's a key principal or sponsor, the same word, interchangeable, a financial partner, like I just talked about, which is what we're trying to do, or bringing in private money or buying it outright. Like there's all these different kinds of ways that you can go about it. We just talked to someone not long ago that is a private money broker. So he is a brokerage of a group of people that are private money lenders, and he's the broker for them. He's essentially a mortgage broker, but instead of dealing with a traditional lending company, it is a group of private money lenders. I've never heard of that before, but it's something we just found out by having multiple meetings and talking to people.
Yep. That was baller, man. I loved it. I'm gonna dig more into that.
Me too. I was very intrigued. Because it's not going to work on the deal. Most likely, it's not going to work on the deal that we were initially talking about. But I could absolutely see that being very beneficial in the near future on another deal.
Yeah.
More tools in our tool
thing. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said more tool. I kind of whispered. I'm sorry. More tools in our tool belt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bo says, do you guys need help looking at all the deals the brokers are sending you? I don't. Maybe you should talk to us afterwards. The answer is no publicly, but maybe to one or two individuals we could talk behind the scenes. But as of now, it's a no. We have all the people in the right places that are performing and where they need to be. I don't know if you guys want to touch on that. I think that's pretty much the consensus.
I think more than anything, Bo, we'd probably be more interested if you brought us a deal,
Yeah,
and it checks
definitely.
off like all the boxes that we're looking for. Then yes, then we would definitely prioritize, finding a deal. So
Yeah.
I think better yet, I think that's probably the most value that we can get at the moment from anybody in this group.
See, that's why Oscar is the one that pitches the deals. It just comes off like we basically said the same thing, right? But it just sounded so much better when he said it. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. One thing I hear, not all the brokers will resonate with us. So always heard we should work with who gets along the best. Absolutely. One of my favorite parts about this business, you get to choose who you work with. We found out early on that is very important to establish what are your values and core values and principles that you want to operate under. And if that person that you're speaking with does not align, just move on. There's plenty of deals out there. I think we wasted what 2-3 months on one deal. You know what deal I'm talking about? Very early on, and it was just an absolute waste of time, and they didn't align with our core values, and we saw a deal and got tunnel vision. You know what I mean? So absolutely, they can choose who you work with.
Yeah, that's a strong answer, man. That's strong. Like you can literally pick. Like when you get a W-2, it's like, gotta work with this person today. You like see their car when you pull in the parking lot, and you're like, oh. But now you're like, you're building your own business. You're building your own team. You handle issues like adults, professionals, right? And like having the best time of your life with the people that you enjoy being around. There's like, man, there's nothing like it.
100%. All right, guys, how do y'all want to answer this one from Facebook user? I don't care.
What?
You see it?
Is it go high level? It's something like that. Yeah. Why don't you message me and we can talk all about it? Because I would love to talk more about systems with whoever you are.
Yeah, if we gave Myron the mic and talk about systems, he will be here for 2 hours or more.
Yeah, I might as well just. All right.
But yeah, we can do like a systems Zoom or something one day. What about Joel's question? Have you guys had 1031 sellers willing to do seller finance? So does that mean that they want to do a 1031 after they sell?
Yeah, I was a little confused by that wording too. If you could clarify a little, Joel, because typically 1031 and seller finance is two different methods of selling. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't necessarily do both of them. Yeah, it's kind of one or the other.
Hey man, we're in creative finance. Let's figure this out real quick. So what if I did 50% down, 50% carry, and it was a $6 million property? So they would get $3 million. They go 1031 that into something else. I mean, that's not really. They'd be moving. Well, no, they could be LP on something or something. They could figure that out.
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
Minutes and answer this one question.
Yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued to see how that would work, to be honest. That's pretty interesting. The answer is no, we have not had that, but yeah, I think we'd be interested to see how that worked out. Or if you have someone that's interested in doing that, let us know.
Let us know, man. We'll bring you up.
Figure it out.
This is when you get two integrators on one question.
Yeah, that's intriguing, man. That's really cool.
And then we get Joel up here. Holy crap.
I like how immediately Myron's like, hold up. We can definitely do this. We'll do 50% carry and 50% he can 1031 it into something else. I love it. That's why he's deal structure, man. That's why he's in deal structure. I like it, but he's phenomenal.
I think I'll have to go. Let's look at Lucas's next thing. What was that?
This one? Oh no, this one.
Yeah, this one right here. Wow, yeah, I think I'll have to go to the private money route. Okay. Also, I have a 6 unit in West Palm. Seller's wanting 550, willing to hold 70%, and wants 30% down. What's 30%?
What is? I was just. I literally was doing the same thing. I was gonna say, what is your goal with this property? Are you trying to take it down yourself? Because if so, I mean, we could probably help you kind of figure it out. But buying wise, that's not something we're looking to buy. If it made sense, we could wholesale it.
Yeah, I would even say, Joseph, maybe even 30% is a little bit too much for the down payment.
I think so too. Yeah.
Right? Because it kind of goes back to understanding creative finance. If you have 30% down, you could probably go and get a couple other properties with that same 30%, maybe get 2 or 3 more. So I would say, if that's something you want to connect with us in the future, yeah, we wouldn't be necessarily interested in holding it ourselves, but we can definitely find or help find a buyer and wholesale that particular deal. It's got to be structured correctly.
He said he wants to hold it long term.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, I would, if we were to buy something like that, 30%, way too high. The deal we are looking at that we were talking about earlier is at 17.2% down, and that's kind of high. We typically don't really want to be above 15. I mean, that's just general, right? Generally you want to put as low down as possible and get the lowest interest rate possible, right? So if I can go and get a loan, hypothetically speaking, if I can go and get a loan and they're going to give me, I only need to put 25% down or 20% down. Why would I do your deal when I can do that deal and buy it outright and have a better deal on my hands?
Here's a comparison real quick, Lucas. The first deal that we did was in Corpus Christi. It was $3 million, and he wanted it. Well, he wanted more down, but we negotiated 150 down. So I'm going to go do a $3 million project with 150 down, or I'm going to do your project with, shoot, what was it down? Was it 150?
It was 165,000.
Yeah, I think that's to Joseph's point. Like, I can go do a bigger deal with the same down payment, maybe. You know, that's what I would look for.
You can invest in our deal. Myron, I think this one's he said he's ready.
All right, Facebook user. I'm sorry I can't see your name on this
It's
thing.
Nick Turnbull.
Nick Turnbull. Don't we know each other, bro? We're in that integrator club together, aren't we? There's no integrator club.
There is now.
There will be.
That's the new Facebook group, guys. Integrators Unite. EM. All right. Okay. Last week, I know we had the broker Zoom, but what were the common objections? I feel the best way to overcome is transparency, talking about partner/leverage, well-funded, and we are goals, etc. I guess the question is, what were the common objections?
Yeah.
But I feel like you kind of just restated them right there, right? Yes, it's definitely best to be transparent and honest. And the common objection is, you know, how is your debt structured? I don't talk to brokers, so I can't answer that question very well. KJ is downstairs. She's just not feeling too well, you know, being pregnant and all. She's lost a lot of energy today. And she's one of the people that really talks. Maybe you should hit her up on another day. I'm sorry, I don't have the answer for you. That's the beauty of being in a team. I don't have to do that. And I don't like to do that. That's my honesty. Transparency and honesty is best. So that's what I'm doing here.
That's why. What was it? earlier you told me, you know, you sounded great. The best part is that you're doing it and I don't have to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy.
Absolutely, man. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't care. I like numbers. That's where I want to be. I want to be at in the numbers and then in the asset management, telling people what to do. That's the things I enjoy doing. That's where I want to be.
Love it. Get you a team that likes to do what that likes to do the things that they're signed up for.
But to, I guess, further answer the question, I would hit up KJ or Carolyn. Let me ask you guys this. We are trying to figure out how we can put these Zooms out there because we are out of space. And the only option is either for us to pay for the space, but then we're paying monthly every month for to give out free content that we're not seeing any return on, right? So hypothetically speaking, if we were to charge a monthly fee to have access to these recordings, would that be something we're interested in? Yes. Put a 1 in the chat. No. Put a 2 in the chat. I just want to gauge thoughts because we're heavily leaning towards doing something like that. Honestly, I have no other way to put it out there.
That's respectable. Like, how much?
Well, I don't know. My gut
I
tells
guess
me.
I would ask the audience, like, if you were getting this for free and this was going to get you your next $1 million deal, how much would you pay for it, right? Like, for me, if I knew that this was going to get me $1 million or more in a deal, then I would pay for it all day over and over again, right? Because I'm getting so much value out of it. And then you got to keep it in perspective too. Like, how much money have we spent collectively as a group to get mentored and to learn this stuff, to be in these rooms? I mean, we spent, Joseph and KJ, myself and Ione, even Myron separately on his whole thing, Myron and Carolyn spent upwards to $10,000 to $15,000 to be in one single weekend event in a mastermind, and upwards to, for me and Joseph, like upwards of 20,000 just to be in a mastermind for a weekend. You know, just that collectively, how much money we've spent together, not to mention everything else we've done outside of that, right? So, like, we're literally, it's thousands of dollars of information that we're learning from someone that's done it, who are in higher, in rooms that we need to be, and we're just giving it away, you know, because we're those types of people. So we're not saying that we want to get rich off of this. We're just saying, like, we've spent so much to give it to you guys, and that's how much we care about our communities, right? We want to give, give, give. But at the same time, it's like we're running out of space because we're giving too much so fast that we don't have space for it no more, right? So that's kind of where Joseph is coming from, is like, you know, we're all this value that we're providing for you guys, you know, it's at the point now where we have to reassess, you know, we have to pay for the things that we're putting out there at this moment. And that's kind of what we're talking about as a team as well. We're like, hey, you know, what do we do? So that's what we're thinking about at the moment.
Yeah. So let us know. Let us know. We'd love to get feedback on that. Otherwise, we're just gonna put a price tag on it, and y'all might not like the price tag. So it might be beneficial to let us know kind of some thoughts beforehand. Let's continue. Next question. Okay. Will they care about my age if I'm 19? Why should your age ever be brought up? I don't tell my age. I don't tell anyone my age. If it's business, if this is a business transaction, they should not be asking your age unless they like physically see you and they're like, "Dang, you look young." You know, that'd be something different. But it shouldn't matter, man. There's multi-million dollar 18-year-olds that I know.
Man, I wish I could be 19 and doing this at 19, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, I'd be done before 30, before 25.
yeah.
Shoot.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'd I I'm not even gonna comment. Never mind. My 19 everything 18 and 19 was a lot of alcohol in that time frame. So you're doing this at 19. Holy crap, man. Good on you. Good on you.
For real.
And I think this is just adding to that question. You're saying, will lenders and brokers care? No, they should be extremely ecstatic for you, right? And if they do care, they don't align with your values. Move on. Yeah, it sounds harsh, right? It sounds harsh, but that's just, you have to be a little bit cutthroat. You really do. Like, obviously, I'm not saying be mean or like ruthless to people, but if you know that whoever it is does not align with you for whatever reason, right? Just move on. Go to the next. Find another relationship. There's 10 more out there just like it that will actually suit your needs.
Oh, and speaking of on the last question that I think Joel had about being 19, like if you guys ever read this book here, it's the definitive guide to underwriting multifamily acquisitions. Like this book, the author is super young. Like he did his, I think his first deal at like age 24, I think, and it was like 200 plus units. So age is not a factor at all. Not at all. And this dude is now well over, I don't know how many units. I mean, it's been a while since then. So age should not matter. It's just your mindset.
So he wrote that book at that age?
I don't know what age he wrote it, but he was saying in the book that I think at 24 is when he closed that property.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Bo. So sweet. We love you too, bro. And look, this go get yourself a team, because look, this is KJ's comment to what I said earlier. She talks to brokers, I do underwriting. We don't even have to step into each other's roles at all. I love it. Anytime underwriting comes up, this is her. Blank stare. She's totally out of it. She goes and does something else.
Either that or she gets on her phone and it's like tuned out.
Yeah. So funny. And Joel, I see your comment on the side here, but as a team, correct me if I'm wrong, we want to have control, right? We don't want to give away control of that to somebody else. That's just something that we've learned early on. One of our experiences, we gave away control and we regretted that decision for the most part. And it's just not something that we want to do again. So I appreciate the offer, but I think that it would make more sense for us to just retain control of it. So I appreciate the offer though.
These were lessons learned though. We had to learn the hard way. Still learning on some of them.
Yeah, so, still learning.
Yeah, it's not we're not coming from a place of like we're greedy or we want to keep it all to ourselves. It's just that these were lessons learned and also taught by other mentors that we've had and how to handle these situations. We just didn't know, right? That's the real thing about it. We just didn't know, but we're learning every day.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to what I said. It's like you got to be a little cutthroat at sometimes. It's business. That's all it is. It's business. It's not personal. No emotion behind it. It's 100% business. That's how it happens. So I don't see any more questions. If anybody else has any questions, now is the time.
Well, I just want to say this, like, we're going to keep going. We're going to, like, I think we're going to charge something. I don't think it's going to be a lot of money, but we're going to charge something. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep providing value no matter what. If you want to keep jumping on the ship with us, keep learning, keep seeing what's going on, do deals with us, all those things. We're going to have free stuff. Like the Slack is free, but the content is an expense. So we're just going to try to like divvy that up. We're all putting dollars in the bucket. We're trying to like spread that out so we can really keep going. And I want to ask one more thing. We have a few people watching. What do you want to see? What do you want to see next? Where, like, basically my question is, where are you struggling right now? Is it finding a team? Is it finding deals? Is it mindset? Talking to brokers? Like, where is your big struggle? And I think we should like plan on where people are struggling. Let's hit that home and let's help people take that next step. If you're struggling to find deals, let us know, like right now, type it out. I'm struggling to find deals. And we will put something together on how we find deals and how we're underwriting and how we're like, what I think would be cool too is like, you get a deal, now what, right? You get a deal, we underwrote it, but like we got to put insurance in place. We got to figure out lending. We got to do maybe a lawyer on it. If we're going to do a syndication, what is that? How are we going to find a partner? We need a financing partner. How do you do that? And I mean, those are like, we can do like 30 more Zooms, but like, really, where are you guys struggling? How can we help you? We want to do deals with everybody here. Like legit, we want to do deals with you. How can we help you? That's what I'd really like to know.
Yeah, because all of this started from a place of wanting to give back, right? We were in the position where we didn't necessarily have very many people to go to. There wasn't anybody providing this value. We had to go physically pay for the value that we're getting. There wasn't someone that is just teaching, right? There wasn't out there. You had to really go dig for this knowledge. So we are coming from that place of that's what we went through and we understand how it is. So we want to put something out there to at least help people get their foot in the door and figure out if this is something they even want to pursue. Because it's a beast. It is a beast. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things you got to learn, a lot of things that you're going to have to learn the hard way and some of it. But that's where it's coming from. It's not a place of, hey, we want to get paid, right? Because we're going to get paid with other things. 100% we're going to get paid with other things. So that I just wanted to throw that out there. We appreciate you guys coming on. We really do. We really do. And we would just be sitting here having another team meeting without you guys. So we do appreciate y'all.
Love it. Well, I think that's it, man. I think we're gonna call it here. Did you have any? Can we do the announcements, Joseph, on the things we've got going on this week?
Sure. I don't know. That's not my role. I'm just kidding. One thing though, I see Lucas, you're focusing on 4 to 35 units. I've got a lender that focuses on less than 30 units, so I can connect you to him. Just reach out to me. I can connect you to him. Okay. So this week, well, it's a little bit of a tough week because actually on Friday, I won't be able to partake in anything except the multifamily in the morning. So 10 a.m. Central, we have on Friday morning, 10 a.m. Central, Friday morning, we have a the good, the bad, and the ugly, where we talk about everything that we've been going through for the week. And I think we're going to have a lot to talk about on that Zoom, just by what I know we have going on this week. So definitely you probably want to be on that one. You're going to get a lot of good information. I know it's early for some people. It's 8 a.m. for me, but hey, I'm getting up there. We're talking about it. The next one is we've changed it from the underwriting Zoom to the multifamily Zoom. That's what we're going to start calling it because we have noticed that people are asking for other things besides underwriting, and we want to have a specific Zoom dedicated to those things, right? And each Zoom is going to be different. When there's nothing planned, we'll continue doing the underwriting Zoom. Bring your deals. We can underwrite it there. Last week, we did a broker Zoom, how to talk to brokers. It was phenomenal. Lots of good feedback. I think there was 75 people in that Zoom, not including us. Freaking awesome. We brought a broker on to talk to you guys as well, answer direct questions. He brought his whole team. Phenomenal Zoom. Badass broker. These guys are crushing it. We are also, there's going to be a mastermind in Tennessee on the 30th of September. Anybody wants to go to that, definitely let us know. It is available for anybody. You just got to go to Tennessee to do it. I think that's all the announcements. Am I correct?
Perfect. That's all I got.
Cool. Well then, I'll miss you guys Friday evening. If I don't see you guys, I'll be picking up a U-Haul and moving some more stuff. As you can see, I've pretty much boxed up everything. Boxes all over the house. I'm over it. I'm ready to be done. So I'm looking forward for that. I'll see you guys in Texas.
You're gonna be home soon, man. You're gonna be home
Yeah,
soon.
absolutely. Facebook user says, "Is that call recorded?" Yes, it is recorded, but we have nowhere to put it. That's kind of what we were talking about. It is recorded. We just don't have a spot to put it. Even the Zoom cloud storage is getting full now. We have no
It's
more.
already full, bro. I already got the message.
We can't record anymore, so that's why we got to figure it out this week before the next Zoom. So if you want to have input in that, let us know in the Facebook group. And otherwise, see you on Friday.
Cool. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.